You are the director, the creator, and the writer of your story. You literally could do whatever you want. And it's just for you to sit down and navigate where you want to go. And you will get there.
Welcome to the show, The Crowned Era, with your host, Susana Berlanga.
I have Denny's waitress. Teen pregnancy.
I was 19. And I had Isaiah when I turned 20. So does that count as a teen pregnancy? I don't know. But I definitely felt like I was a teen because of the way people treated me. That's for sure. I mean, yeah, I definitely felt exiled. So we could start there. That's the driving force of why I started working like I did. And having Isaiah is why I went so hard in creating the Crown Agency. But the story before that is like, there's so much that led up to, creating the Crown Agency and all the success that we did have. I just want to be able to tell that story. So I'm excited to tell that story. I'm from LA County. I was born in North Carolina, and then my mom moved back to her family in California, and we were raised all over Southern California, so like the South Bay.
So all of your mom's side of the family, everyone's originally from SoCal?
Yes. I mean,
your immediate family.
Yeah, my grandmother was born in Samoa and moved to Hawaii to finish high school. And then she met my grandfather there, who I believe he was in the Navy. I believe my grandfather was in the Navy. He was a white man from North Carolina. And then they got married. He took her back to North Carolina. And then she didn't like it out there. I mean, this was in the late 50s, early 60s. So she moved back to her mom, which my great-grandmother came to the United States of America also with a military man. Yeah. So it's interesting, the stories of the Islander women, right?
So you have your own ties to the military. You were a mentor for the military, weren't you?
Yep, I did. I mentored cadets for a program called the Sunburst Youth Academy. They help credit deficient youth. They can enroll and they'll help them become credit efficient and help them graduate. And they have to live on base. So they needed a mentor in order to sign up. And I mentored 3 different cadets. It's high school. Yeah, they trained us on how to become mentors. Basically, whatever you did in your life, they wanted you to teach your cadet that, but you're basically helping them through the program because they have no access to phones or internet or TV or their relationships. They can't go back home. They're on the base, so they need someone. And the mentor is the only one that gets to go in and see them. So we're kind of their accountability partner, their built-in guidance counselor to help them like finish the program because that's the goal. So yeah.
And you fell in love there?
Oh my God. Yes, I did. I fell in love with my cousins that were in the program. Elisa, my cousin Jennifer, who passed away, she was the first one to go there. And then because she did that, a bunch of my other cousins joined. And so that's another thing. Like whatever I have done in my life, I've always tried to include my cousins. And my grandmother has 7 kids. So I have like 80 cousins and I'm one of the oldest. And so I really take it personal to like help be a pioneer in some sort to help lead them and show them the way.
How does that make you feel?
It feels good, but sometimes it's heavy. It's been heavy. It's like heavy as the head that wears a crown. It's something like that because it's so true. Like it costs so much to, number one, break out of wherever you come from. The cultural mindsets, the religious mindsets, your ethnicity, the expectations of society, breaking out of all those places, it's a really hard thing to do because it requires separation. And a lot of times you don't want to separate. But I see that every time God tells me it's time to separate, it's because he wants to elevate me. And every time I've done it and I've been obedient, I have been elevated in some way. In some way I've been promoted. And And so, but that's not the incentive. The incentive is to do that. And then once you are separated, you're elevated, it's like you have pushed through another level and you can pull them in. And when it's time, they'll come along. And that's what I've seen. So I know that that's a cost. There's a cost in being called. There's a cost involved in being that person who's going to make those sacrifices.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think just from what you just, of course, us doing life together, I think that every place you've worked at, whether it was Terrell, whether it was at Party Princess, whether it was your own agent, the Crown, whether it was Rex, everybody sensed that and got that from you. It's not a surprise. The CEOs of the businesses, or the COOs, or the CFOs, they recognize so much leadership in you that it definitely affirms all the positions you've been in. So that you having those voices around you, the voices at Terrell, the voice at Party Princess, and the voices at Rex. What did that do for you?
The exposure?
What did that do for you?
Yeah, the exposure to those people changed my life.
And who were the people?
So number one, the first person that I got exposed to really young, I came straight out of high school. I was working for Turok. It was Mike Turry.
And Terrell's what?
Turok is a general contractor in Southern California, and they're one of the leading general contractors. So they would do projects like for the Lakers, for example. The Lakers would hire them and say, we want to renovate our practice facilities. You guys will build it out. They did a lot of really amazing projects like that. And the thing about Turok was their building was in West Side Long Beach on Santa Fe and Santa Fe and Wardlow. So people that know Long Beach, they know where this is, okay? And so, but the people that were working in the building, they lived in Corona del Mar and Newport Beach and Costa Mesa. I used to live and do life around in this city that the building was in. But when I walked in the building, it was completely different, right? So it's a total different lifestyle. So being exposed to business at that young age and the work ethic of this CEO was life-changing, because he would get in at 5 a.m. and leave at 5 p.m. every single day. And I came in the picture like 32 years in. Like the business had already been there for 32 years and he was still doing that. So I was like, at what point, like, do you like not come in at 5 o'clock? No, like he was just there. He loved what he did. My mom got me the job. She was working in accounting. I was straight out of high school. I started as a file clerk for the accounting department. And then they got me at the front desk. I was a receptionist. And then I worked in the administrative side. And they started training me there. And then eventually I worked in marketing. And then I got to work directly with Mike Turry as his executive assistant and doing marketing with the business development team. I got pregnant while I worked there with Isaiah, and I continued to work there. I grew up around all of these people that were completely different than the people, I was exposed to, because my family, my grandma's first generation here from Samoa, and they were just building. And they've had to overcome so many different things that I did not get exposed to that. Mike Turry and the other people I worked with at Turok, they really took me under their wing to teach me marketing, sales, and business development. And this is like in my early 20s. This is one thing Mike Turry told me, because the position I was in, usually you had to have a communications degree in order to get this, and I didn't have a degree. I've been working with him since I was 18 years old. So he said, look, a degree doesn't really mean anything to me. And he's on the board of education at Cal State Long Beach. He has his degree. He's like, the only thing it shows me is that you can research and that you can make a commitment to something. And so to me, it took a lot of shame off of me, because when I went to high school, I wanted to go to college, and I did do a couple years of college. Yeah, and I played college volleyball, and that was my goal. But then I think the thing that stopped me was I got into a car accident.
Near-fatal car accident.
I got a near fatal driving from the Inland Empire down. I was driving on the 91, me and my cousins, and I was in my volleyball uniform because I was on my way to my game. And I was a setter, and they were giving me the opportunity to be an outside hitter. And I'm only 5'5", so usually that's not an opportunity, but I was so excited about it. I end up getting into a car accident where this person is parked in the carpool lane coming around a curve, and the sun's going down. I couldn't tell if the car was going or not. And I asked my cousin, like, wait, is that car like stop? And by the time we could figure it out, I had to slam on my brakes. I hit the car. We spun out, and it was like a 10-car accident. And our car was completely smashed in like an accordion, and me and my cousins survived. And nothing happened to us. Like, it was literally the grace of God. But after that, because I was in a relationship and I was like so used to like the church, just theology in general, which is true. There was a true part of it. Like, I was not married and I was doing things, that I shouldn't have done. And in that time, my mind, I had this sense of like, God knew what you've been doing this whole time, and you just got punished by the Lord. Like, God punished you. And so I punished myself, quit the volleyball team, quit school, and then I just went to work. Literally, that's when I started working at Terrell. I gave up volleyball, and I didn't have to. I could have just went back like the next season, and I could have continued college, but my theology was so wrong. It controlled my life like no one else did, but my mindset, what I believed about God, literally changed the course of my life. So I was living like with shame of this belief system that said, God is like completely against you in this season because you did these things. And I was living out my life according to that belief system. But God's grace, it's like he still plugged me in, and because that wasn't true, right? So that's why the Bible says to renew your mind, that you have to be transformed by the renewing of your mind, because your mind can be the thing that's stopping you. It wasn't my environment. It was my belief system, something that was taught to me that God was always going to punish me if I did the wrong thing. And I was like, this is so scary. I was afraid. And by the way, I'm raised by a single mom. My mom's working all the time. So it's like all we do is work, go to church, and take care of my siblings. That's it. That was our whole life. I don't want to cry. So then when I got pregnant, I was like, oh my gosh, like I just made it harder on us. Like so much harder. Like we were working towards all these things. And then this is what you did, Sana. So I think I can look back and see the grace of God on me, but there was so much shame and condemnation on me throughout my story that this is why I'm doing this now, because I want to sit with people and hear out their story and point out the place where that I can see shame coming in and being like, that's not God's voice. I could be like, that's not God's voice right there in that decision, or that wasn't God's doing. Like you thought God did that thing, or he allowed that thing, and that's not true. So if we fast forward, because it's a very long story, God has really shown me who he is, and he's not that guy. He's not that God that I learned about in Sunday school or at church. And that's why I believe that God has told us we have to come out. We have to come out of our religion. We have to come out of our ethnicity. We have to come out of our culture. We have to come out of our own Father's house. Symbolically, meaning you have to come out of the mindsets of all these places. Not like, oh, I'll never be a part of these places. No, not physical. Everything I'm saying in this example, it's not about the physical place. And it might be for you, it might mean that. But really, it's about the spiritual side and the mental. I have to come out of the mindsets of these things that are lying to me, and they're hindering me. They're keeping me in a box. They're condemning me. They're keeping me away from God. And those are all lies. So I am so excited because God has brought me out of all these places. And because of that, he put a lot of light on my business. It was only God. Like I could not have done that on my own. So for example, with the Crown Agency, most of the celebrities that you see me working with, the event planners, the vendors, a lot of them know each other. Like they've grown up together. These are producers' kids, or this person, he's a writer and this is his daughter and this is her event company. And so they all know each other, right? So they can plug each other in. I didn't have that. I didn't have any connections in the entertainment industry where I was. I do have a lot of family members that work in the industry, but not in my niche, right? In the event world. So God gave me the exposure through the company, a strategy on how to get celebrity clients. So as soon as I left there, first of all, I didn't have much. I had $1,500 and I had one vision that I was going to create my own agency. I didn't even have costumes or performers. And I pitched the client that I did research on. And that was Nia. She was living in Texas at the time. I pitched the opportunity and she said yes. But at this time, I literally didn't have the costumes or the performers. I just had the idea, the vision. I knew how to do it. So it was really like a faith moment. So this strategy of becoming your own PR agent, completely possible. Traditionally, PR agents would cost like so much money for you to run campaigns. But in the digital world where we're at now, it's different. And so I'm excited to help people learn how to be their own PR agent, because that's something that I learned how to do 10 years ago. I've seen the benefits, and God really helped me do that on my own. When I was working with these other companies before Crowned, they had a budget for ads. So you get the celebrity client and then you run ads, right? This is social media marketing 15 years ago. And so now think about where we're at. We have AI, we have freelancers, we have virtual assistants. We have so many things that we can do right now that are game changers. I'm thinking about how hard it was for me back then. We're still way ahead of the game because a lot of people weren't even getting into social media marketing or digital marketing in general. And now it's like, okay, I don't want to be a gatekeeper. I want to help people. I'm really excited about looking at service-based businesses and seeing, well, are you online? Number one, you should be online. If you're not online, let's get you online. And then let's look at your services, all the expertise of all the things you've been doing all these years, and how can we package it and put it online for you to sell? Because it's crazy, the opportunities, especially with creating your own digital course or your own master resale rights course. When I first heard about master resale rights, I thought it was too good to be true, because the value that is offered in these products, they give the complete blueprint of everything I've seen that I've worked on for 15 years. It's all in one course. And guess what? They continue to add modules and you don't have to continue to pay. So it's like everything you would possibly need to know. They offer payment plans. At the Crown Agency, I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. I know what it costs. I know what it takes. And I know the value of the course that will teach you everything you need to know. And you'll always have access to all the modules. So for example, a new AI product comes out and they want to add it to the course, you will be receiving that and you don't have to pay anything else. It's really great for anyone who wants to learn how to be your own PR agent. When you go on someone's page and you see their name and you see there's a link in their bio, when you click on that link, it should lead you somewhere. Well, right now, if you're a service-based business and you don't have a link in your bio, you're losing money. The opportunity to put a link in your bio that is creating a funnel that will drive sales to your business. It's so crazy because I think people are missing out on this opportunity because they want to work hard. Society has told us that you have to work hard in order to be successful. And I think that's one thing that we have to also come out of. We have to come out of the lie that you have to work so hard. And I'm not saying you don't have to be disciplined. I'm not saying you don't have to have great habits and routines, but it doesn't have to be so hard that you're striving and you're so stressed out and you can't spend time with your kids and you don't have time with your family and you're in debt. It doesn't have to be like that anymore. That is so mind-blowing to me. As someone who's built multiple businesses, been a part of startups, and we've bootstrapped that thing, and like we've worked 24 hours and we've hired people, and we've gone to the ends of the earth to make this business successful. And I've seen that and I've been a part of that. And I know what it takes. And that there's a part of me that like loves that because I feel satisfaction of like working hard.
And you're no stranger to that hustle culture because you work in the two biggest markets in the country, let alone the world. So you have the exposure of what it looks like to hustle, to grind, or it's so strenuous on you and your mental health. And it doesn't have to, so you're saying it doesn't have to be that way.
No, I mean, in LA, like when Okay, as first of all, starting out, I started out as a party princess working for the company because I have an entertainment background. I've been in singing and dancing and modeling and acting my life as a child. My grandmother and my mom put me in entertainment. And then my culture, as a Samoan person, most of the time they're going to put you out there and you're going to have to learn how to do these things, which is a big blessing to me. I had a really great time doing that. So starting out as a party princess in LA, in one of the main companies where we're getting all the business, that means I'm doing 8 parties a weekend at least, and I'm changing in my car. Like I'm putting on the wig in my car. I'm switching from Snow White to Cinderella. Then I have to be my own customer service agent. I take the money, I call the client and say, hey, I'm here outside. This is Cinderella. You have to be able to do so many things as a party princess. It's crazy. And then you're dealing with like the city of LA, traffic and people, like drunk people and like people hitting on you, and you're with kids. It's like princessing in the jungle, like it's in the wild. It's intense. You've seen me, and you know the value of like having someone drive you. That's like a life changer. When you've like gone with me to parties and you've driven me around the city, you've seen it. You've seen, and then it's like 100 degrees in the car and you're sweating off your makeup and you have to reapply it. It's a lot. But that's just like princess side. But okay, what about real estate in LA and then doing real estate in San Francisco, commercial real estate? It's a different game. And I love all things business. I love strategy and helping businesses grow. So I was really excited about working in those places. But yes, I understand hustle. I believe that in this season, we don't have to be in hustle anymore. There's opportunities that you can take and bring balance to your own life through digital marketing. You're going to be able to make money while you're asleep if you just set your profiles up. The opportunity is to help you figure out how you're going to serve people online now with all your years of expertise, whatever it is. And then we're going to help you digitize that. That means make it digital, bring it online. That's not that hard, but it can be really hard to someone who hasn't been doing this for the last 15 years. But we have done this. We've documented things we're doing online. This is the only way I found my clients. And well, actually, I mean, it's online and of course, word of mouth, because we're a service-based business. So those two things powered together without paying for ads, like you can do that, but you also have the opportunity to pay for ads. So this is why I get really passionate about it. When I talk to people, I'm like I look at them and I try to figure out what can you do online and can you come with me on this journey online, because I know the power of it. And I haven't even talked about being exposed to a multimillionaire, a digital marketer who I worked for before starting my own digital marketing company. Like I haven't even talked about that.
I into everything you know about, everything you've learned about Kino about.
Well, I think when Jesus says, okay, Peter and Andrew, Peter and his boys, I don't know who it was. Peter and his crew. Peter and his crew were fishing all day and all night. And they had a reason why they needed that. They needed the fish. They were hustling for that fish. They were working so hard. And these are expert fishermen. This was their trade. This had been taught generationally. Like his father was, you know what I mean? Like in this culture, you know, these were the trades and this is what he did. He was a fisherman. He knew what he was doing. They know exactly where to go. But they were not able to catch any fish while they were hustling. And when I look at this story, I've been in Peter's position. Like I'm grinding, I'm working so hard, and I'm like so desperate. I'm trying to take my little bit and make it into something great. I have all of the work ethic, I have the determination, I have the discipline, I have everything I need, but it's not producing. And at that point, like as a believer, I have to step back and say, why, God? Why isn't it producing like in this season? In that story, Jesus comes to Peter and he's like, well, I think he asked him for his boat, first of all, right? He said, can I have your boat? Oh my gosh, I'm going to just cry right now because I think about like, he asked him for his boat and he's like, okay, gives it to him. Jesus preaches on the boat. The word of God goes out from the boat. once the word of God goes out from the boat, something shifts the atmosphere. And Jesus said, now put your net out there one more time. Put it on the other side. He actually debates with them. First of all, he doesn't even know him. He's like, I'm an expert, and I've been doing this for a long time. So I already know, like, I've been here. I've been hustling this whole time, and you're going to tell me to do this? Okay. Nevertheless, at your word, I'll do it. And so then he does it. He throws over the net, and it's a net breaking. It's a net breaking catch. It's a net breaking catch. And it's such a big catch that he needs other people to come in now to help him carry that. And so that whole story can be viewed through the eyes of a business person also, because it's like, if you use your platform, when God asks you for your platform and he says, can I use this? Can I put the word of God out through your business? I know you've been here for years. I know you've been doing this. I know you're an expert. But if you let the word of God come out in this platform, that's seeking the kingdom. That's seeking first the kingdom. And all these fish, all these things will be added unto you. So we don't have to hustle anymore. So in that moment, Peter might have been hustling his whole life, but in that moment, God broke hustle culture off of him. I get excited because in that moment, he broke hustle culture off of him. And he's like, now you're not going back to fishing, actually. Come with me. You're going to be fishers of men. And the reward of being a fisher of men is greater than catching the fish, you know? So that's why in this season, whoever's attracted to this voice and this platform, we're not just going to be coming out of hustle culture. We're going to be completely in the kingdom, aligned with God, with what God is saying, and we're going to make so much impact through the people we reach. So we were serving them in one way, and now we're going to be impacting them forever. And that impact is worth any investment. And what the investment for Peter was walk away from the whole business. And God told me to do that in the beginning. He said, just walk away from the whole thing. And I was like, what? Wait a minute. Did I hear that right? Like, you told me to build this business, and now you're telling me to throw it away, literally throw it all away? He said, yes, because I'm going to take your water. I'm going to take your water and I'm going to turn it into wine. So if you listen to me, I'll turn your water into wine. So at that word, I said, okay. You saw me as a single mom building this business. You helped me. You're the one that gave me the light. You're the one that connected me to the people, and you carried us this whole time. So if you told me to throw it away, I'll do it. So I did. And it was a very scary thing to do. But I said, nevertheless, at your word, I'll do it. And now here I am. I'm throwing the net out on the other side. And I'm allowing God to use this platform for the word. And I believe I've seen it. Some of you have seen it. You've seen the light on my business. And that's me being a single mother. And most of the time I was doing this out of a rented bedroom. I was living with my grandmother in South Central LA. And most people didn't know that. But my performers knew that. And they still came. And then I moved out. I got married. I moved to the Silicon Valley. And we were doing life there for the last 6 years. But God has moved me again. My whole family. And this time he's done something beyond anything I could ever imagine. Like, I'm sitting in an 11,000 square foot building where he's creating a film production studio out of this. So the stories are going to be told, and I want to tell your story through the lens that God has given me to see you and to see your story right and to tell your story right. So I get super emotional and excited because I know the power of God, and I've seen it in my life, and I've seen him carry me through all these seasons. I'm really excited. I'm excited about it.